Another rough day for firefighters as a string of grass fires are keeping them on their toes. Why they think these fires are being deliberately set.
And it is warm out there, but dry conditions are in place as well as a stronger delta breeze. I'll let you know how that is impacting the firefight.
Plus, police searching for answers in a deadly rampage that left 7 people dead, why authorities say they were forced to shoot the suspect.
And a boating tragedy takes the life of a bride-to-be, leaves the groom seriously injured and the best man missing, why police arrested their friend.
This is News 10 at 5.
Another busy day for local firefighters. Several grass fires have popped up across our area today, prompting crews to jump into action. And these new fires are sparking after back-to-back days of suspicious fires around the American River Parkway.
Let's go live to News 10's Lee Painter, who was out at one of those new fires. She has the latest on this firefighting effort the Parkway fire investigators are still looking into. Lee?
That's right. This whole week has been nothing but back-to-back wildfires that have kept firefighters busy. We are at the Parkway, and you can take a look. This is the extent of the damage over here. It's still pretty black and charred over here. And what we're hearing from, all these different multiple agencies that have been responding to these fires, that 3 of them have already been called suspicious because of where the fire started. And fire officials are encouraging people to be careful with open flames when they're out in these very dry conditions, and say that property owners can also help them out by taking care of their own lawns.
Arguably, no one had a harder work week than local firefighters. They battled multiple fires this week, sometimes several in one day. On Thursday, we interviewed Sacramento Battalion Chief Sean Perry at the Parkway fire.
We've got fire above us, we've got fire moving laterally, we've got fire jumping over the levee and the bike trail headed towards structures. Our main goal today has been to try to stay ahead of this thing, which has been nearly impossible.
And we met up with Chief Perry again today at a grass fire on Rio Linda. This one was an easy douse, but so many of the urban area fires are suspected as being man-made.
Any fire that's in the middle of nowhere raises suspicion. How would it start, in other words? So by nature it is suspicious. We don't have any evidence of an incendiary device.
The Thursday fire at the Parkway and Friday's American River Park Rossmore fire are being investigated as arson.
Obviously, the fire and where it started is a concern to us. Fires just don't start in the middle of a field in the middle of the day, and so we're looking at we have our arson unit down.
We do know that these fires obviously just don't spontaneously combust. They don't start by themselves, and we do know that there's a lot of people, foot traffic.
Despite the danger man-made fires can create, firefighters say people can prevent them. They encourage property owners to regularly mow the grass to cut the fire's potential fuel source, which helps stop today's earlier fire from moving beyond this patch of grass.
We had a lot of mowed field. It did in fact start to get into taller grass that had not been mowed. If the winds would have kept up, we would have had a completely different event.
Now back out here live, this is the Parkway that had that taller grass, and this was the fire that took them a lot longer to get under control. And the one that we saw earlier today off of Claire, that was the one that had the shorter grass, and you can just tell the difference there, that it was very easily contained for firefighters, and they had it out within minutes. But we also heard the fire yesterday in Auburn. We were talking to homeowners. A electric fence that one homeowner had, he left it on, and he didn't tell the firefighters that were going into his property. And one of those firefighters ended up getting electrocuted. He's okay. He did get treated at a local hospital, but fire officials are saying if you do have anything electrical outdoors, also either let firefighters know that it's on or try to turn it off before fire crews get there, because they're working against the elements out here in dangerous conditions as it is. So anything that property owners can do to help them out do their job is recommended. So we're out here live at the Parkway. Lee Painter, News 10.
Lee, thank you. And here's a live look at Sacramento right now. There is a slight breeze in the air, and while we're still seeing temperatures in the 90s, it's starting to cool down. So what does this mean to help local firefighters? Well, for that, let's go right to Darla Givens. She has more from the News 10 Weather Center.
That's right. We're seeing that nice cooling delta breeze. That's bringing a nice cool marine air, but temperatures out are still pretty warm in the area, and they have been for the past 5 days. So that does add to the fire danger in our area. Here's our fire forecast. You can see the areas in orange. That presents a greater problem for fire. That means our fuel out there is very dry, and the wind direction also has to play a role. When we get those dry northerly winds, that increases our fire danger, but we are seeing that delta breeze, that southwesterly flow. So here's how things are going to shape up over the next 24 hours. We'll see things tapering off during the evening hours, but once again during the afternoon, we're still seeing an increased risk and fire danger, especially for the Stockton and Modesto area and south of Modesto. Otherwise, things are going to start to improve each day. Humidity levels out there right now, it's still pretty dry out, 27% in Stockton, 23 in Modesto, 31 in Sacramento, and that's the average for this time of year during this time of day. But look at what we have seen as far as temperatures are concerned over the past 5 days. We were up to 98 degrees on Wednesday. So you combine that with the warm weather that we've seen even yesterday and today, things are still pretty dry out there. Winds definitely a factor. We're picking up a southwest breeze at 14 miles per hour for Sacramento, 23 miles per hour for Fairfield. So that is definitely bringing in some cooler air. Outside right now, we're at 90 degrees in Sacramento, but you can tell the locations that are not seeing that breeze, we're in the upper 90s in some locations, 97 in Oroville and Modesto, 96 for Fairfield, or I should say for Marysville. We are going to see cooler temperatures over the next few days. We're going to see not 90s, and I won't tell you exactly what right now, but we are going to see much cooler weather ahead for the next several days. So I'll be back with the full forecast after a little bit. Tamani.
All right, Darla, thank you very much. And be sure to stick with News 10 for the latest fire updates, weather conditions, and breaking news. You can also get updates on your tablet with the new News 10 iPad app. It's all free at the iTunes Store.
Firefighters in Folsom were called to a popular bar after its wood deck caught on fire early this morning. This happened just before 5 a.m. at the Powerhouse Pub on Sutter Street. Folsom firefighters and SAC Metro crews worked together and managed to put out the fire within half an hour. Crews were able to put it out before it spread inside the building. Sacramento police arrested a mother after getting reports she was sleeping at the wheel of a parked truck with her 3-year-old in the passenger seat. Officers say they arrived at the scene and found the driver, 27-year-old Teg Belson-Hekela, awake. After searching the truck, police found drugs within reach of the little girl. Belson-Hekela was arrested for child endangerment and drug possession. The 3-year-old is now in protective custody.
And Sacramento police made a shocking discovery after catching a suspected car thief. Police say this man, 23-year-old Matthew McGee, led police on a chase with 2 children in the back of his car. It all started when officers noticed a stolen car and started chasing it. After a short pursuit, McGee allegedly crashed into a pole and traffic signal, got out of the car and took off. That's when police found 2 kids, 6 and 2 years old, in the back of the car. They were sent to the hospital as a precaution. Officers tracked down McGee, and he now faces several charges, including child endangerment. And how about this for a wake-up call? An SUV ran into a fire hydrant, causing quite a mess this morning in a Rosemont neighborhood. Just after 8:30, firefighters got a call of a car into a fire hydrant. And when they arrived, this is what they saw: water gushing into the air. Now, CHP says the driver of the car, a 35-year-old man, rear-ended another vehicle before hitting the hydrant and running into the side of a house. The driver of the second vehicle was taken to the hospital by family members. The crash and the water caught the attention of the entire neighborhood.
I basically just heard 2 screeches and a big boom, and immediately came out and saw the water gushing. The first thing I did was check and make sure they were okay. She says it hit her bedroom. She was in there sleeping.
Officers arrested the driver of the SUV on suspicion of driving under the influence. His 10-year-old daughter was in the car with him but was not hurt. Utility crews had to turn off the water to part of the neighborhood for a short time while they repaired the hydrant.
A mass shooting rocks a sleepy Florida town.
Now, police are desperately trying to find out why a man would set his apartment on fire before going on a murder rampage. Reporter Daria Albinger has more on the victims and the suspect behind the deadly spree.
The heat of a summer night exploded into gunfire. Police say Pedro Vargas set his apartment on fire. When the husband and wife who managed the building went to investigate, he ambushed them.
Started just opening fire on them.
And in seconds, a young woman lost her parents.
I heard about 15 to 20 shots. And so I went outside and my neighbors were screaming that my parents had been shot.
Ambulances arrived too late.
My mom was dead the moment that she was shot. My dad passed away shortly after.
Vargas then began shooting at a building down the block, killing a second man. Then he burst into the apartment of a couple and their teenage daughter and gunned them down dead. Scores of police and SWAT teams swarmed the scene, backed up by armored cars.
Y'all need to clear out.
Bystanders were herded to safety in nearby stores, and residents spent most of the night as street people locked out of their homes. The gunman barricaded himself in an apartment with 2 hostages. Negotiations went nowhere for hours, and police decided to storm his position.
He fired at them. There was an exchange of gunfire. He was ready to fight. We returned fire. We prevailed. He died on the scene.
The hostages were rescued unharmed.
He had plenty of ammo left, and he had the gun with him, so they were in definite danger.
Shocked residents tried to console one another as the awful news sank in. Police are still looking into what made the gunman snap. Daria Albinger, ABC News, New York.
And another heartbreaking story out of New York. What was supposed to be a prenuptial boat ride turned tragic last night. A speedboat carrying a wedding party crashed in the Hudson River, killing the bride-to-be, injuring the groom, and leaving another person missing. Now the driver, a friend, is being charged with manslaughter on suspicion of operating the boat while drunk. Police believe the driver struck a barge, sending people into the water.
The barge that we believe was struck is actually 3 barges that are tied together. They do have some lighting, but it was very dark out there last night and very difficult to see the barges in the water.
Rescuers are still trying to locate the groom's best man, 30-year-old Mark Lennon. Coming up on News 10 at 5, this summer, instead of having fun in the sun, some girls are preparing for their future as engineers. Find out what school is looking for some girl power.
And Hollywood evades the Bay Area. Find out which movie is being filmed in the streets of San Francisco. And no one likes to be unemployed, but if you are, we'll tell you the top states to live without a job.
Simone Damani coming up here on World News. The deadly hostage standoff, 8 hours, a man taking aim at several of his neighbors. Tonight our correspondent is there and how they stopped him. Also hear the bank blunder. Imagine coming home from vacation, your home emptied, your locks changed. The bank had foreclosed though on the wrong home. That bank now blaming it on GPS. It's coming up right here after News 10 at 5. Hope to see you shortly.
It's really fun.
Really fun? What have you learned this week?
I've learned how to program computers.
Smart Cookie, a summer camp at UC Davis, is teaching middle school girls all about robots. They're getting a hands-on lesson on programming and engineering.
Looks like a cool program, and as reporter Jonathan Bloom shows us, it's part of a plan to inspire tomorrow's engineers.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
I want to be an engineer.
And 8th grader Bianca Hurtado is well on her way. In this lab at UC Davis, she's among 15 middle school girls learning to assemble and program robots at a 1-week summer camp.
It's really fun.
Really fun? What have you learned this week?
I've learned how to program computers.
Before this week, hardly any of these girls had ever written code. Now they're bringing robots to life and learning the joy of debugging.
No, 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 no. I am ruined.
It's really frustrating because sometimes it's hard to find out what the error is.
But that frustration is where learning happens.
They just hit all these roadblocks and they, one by one, they knock them down, and then they just hit this moment where everything works. We got one! Yes! Yeah!
Solving problems together is key, and it's a little easier without boys around.
I think boys that naturally think that they are better in computers than girls. So they think that they know how to do it right, so they try to teach the girl or command the girl.
Instead, the only ones taking orders are the robots.
You're telling it what to do and it listens to you, and like you get to learn how to like put different robots together, and you could just make them like do like anything.
The robots they're using are called LinkBots, designed right here at UC Davis to teach the same kind of problem solving kids need in their science and math classes.
We developed this modular robot can really get a student engaged in personalized learning.
LinkBots offer lots of different ways to solve a problem, and it's that critical thinking that UC Davis hopes will help these girls succeed in engineering and also in life.
Any problem you encounter in life, I think that the logical thinking of programming can help you solve.
All right, turning to other stories around the state, there was an unusual sight this morning on San Francisco's Broadway Street. What looked like a bad accident or an art installation was actually part of the set of a new film being shot in San Francisco. The movie Dawn of the Planet of Apes is about a group of scientists in San Francisco who try to survive in the aftermath of a deadly plague. It's a sequel of Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which was also shot in San Francisco and Muir Woods.
And authorities are investigating whether a Hollywood executive slowed down the manhunt for accused cop killer Christopher Dorner. 38-year-old Ryan Kavanaugh, who produced films like Social Network and The Fighter, was allegedly using the LA County Sheriff's helipad during the search. Now, investigators are looking into whether that might have hurt the search for Dorner. Kavanaugh's spokesman says that this is just politically motivated since he recently endorsed a candidate running against the LA County Sheriff. And unemployment rates have fallen across the country, but there are still nearly 12 million active job seekers who can't find work.
Now, one analysis firm has created a list of the top 10 best states to be unemployed. The top 10 are Montana, Hawaii, North Dakota, Iowa, Minnesota, Idaho, Vermont, Washington, Utah, and Kansas. Analysis firm 24/7 Wall Street used data from the Department of Labor's Office of Unemployment and the Bureau of Labor Statistics. It specifically looked at unemployment insurance benefits and employment statistics. The firm wanted to see where residents had the best chances of finding work and the best benefits while looking for work.
I'd say nobody wants to be unemployed, but if you have to be unemployed, I guess Hawaii is a pretty good destination.
Yeah, sign me up. Well, actually, no, I like my job.
Well, it's a plant show unlike any other. Coming up next to a News 10 at 5, there are no roses or carnations. We'll tell you what you'll find at this Sacramento plant show and sale.
And we are looking at some really nice conditions. Those Sierra showers still possible through this evening. Tomorrow, it's a different story. We have cooler weather headed our way. I'll let you know just how cool things are going to get.
Well, forget roses and dandelions. These gardening fanatics are all about the carnivorous plants. Today, the Sacramento Bromeliad and Carnivorous Plant Society held its 43rd annual Carnivorous Plant Show and Sale. Now, anyone who stops by can get a close-up view of Venus flytraps and even more carnivorous plants. Now, the show will take place again tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at McKinley Park.
I have been looking for centerpieces.
There you go.
For my wedding reception. Should I have Venus flytraps?
Venus flytrap.
I know you are so not serious.
But you know, there's something kind of cool about them, though.
You know what? They'd probably be great for a picnic. To take them, and that way you get rid of the flies and ants and everything else. Outside right now, though, beautiful conditions for a picnic. Lots of sunshine outside in our area. Just a little bit of haze out there. Temperatures right now, 90 degrees for Sacramento, 97 in Modesto, 96 in Marysville. We're at 82 degrees for South Lake Tahoe. You can see those areas that aren't seeing that Delta breeze. But throughout the valley, we're actually cooler today than 24 hours ago. But that trend is going to continue as well because we'll see a cooler air mass moving in. 91 degrees for Sacramento, the high today, 96 in Marysville, 97 in Modesto, with 97 also for Oroville, and 85 degrees for South Lake Tahoe. Our temperatures are going to dip down to the 50s by tomorrow morning, 57 degrees at 5 o'clock. So you can go out if you're one of those early morning exercisers and have some great conditions for exercising. So the showers today that we saw across the Sierra, mainly south of Tahoe, just to the east of the Yosemite area, we're still picking up some showers and thunderstorms. Most of those storms are now pushing off to the east, and we'll start to lose the influence of the shower activity for the Sierra tomorrow. It's this low pressure system that's going to move into the region. It's bringing a cooler air mass in place. It's what we call that Delta breeze, and it's going to be quite breezy tonight. We'll see some gusts up to 25 miles per hour through the valley, and that high pressure system is going to continue to weaken a bit, pushing off to the east. Now, as this low gets closer, a cooler air mass is in place, so we're going to see a pretty mild day starting tomorrow, but even more cooling on Monday and Tuesday. Hard to believe, but tomorrow is the last day of the State Fair. 88 degrees if you're planning on heading out. We are going to see that cooling effect. Tomorrow, winds not quite as strong out of the south at 10 miles per hour. In the Sierra tomorrow, temperatures around 81 degrees for South Lake Tahoe, 88 in Pollock Pines, 93 for Auburn. And we're going to see mild conditions out. Plenty of sunshine in place. We're going to have temperatures in the mid to upper 70s for the next several days. Right around 81 degrees tomorrow, though, for the Sierra. 94 degrees at Patterson, 91 in Tracy, cool in San Francisco, 62 degrees. Here in the Sacramento region, tomorrow temperatures are going to be in the upper 80s to right around 90 in some locations, and that cooling trend is going to continue. 84 degrees on Monday. So that's why I didn't want to give it away. I said it's going to be cooler, but nice 84 degrees on Monday. That's about 10 degrees cooler than average. And all week long, we're looking at temperatures in the low 90s, so not quite where we should be for this time of year. But let me tell you something. I'll gladly take it because we're entering into August at the end of the week.
A nice respite from the heat wave.
Yeah. All right, darling. Okay. Thank you.
We'll talk about bad timing. Coming up on News 10 at 5, one dad runs out of gas on the way to the hospital where his wife was forced to deliver their baby girl. One woman proves that when an expecting mother says it's time to go, you better listen.
Future dads out there, don't let this happen to you. Texas mom Julie Williams told her husband that she couldn't make it to the hospital, but there was one problem. He needed gas. Unfortunately, Julie knew what the dad-to-be didn't. It was time. And while he was busy filling up the tank, she was, well, in the back seat just delivering her daughter. Now, right at the pump, their 7-pound and 7-ounce baby Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock in the morning. Their 7-pound daughter made her big debut.
By the time he gets back into the car, I was pretty much delivering my daughter. He did.
It was just surprising, you know, get back in the truck and she's
he leaves.
Her out, and I'm like,
he leaves with one girl in the truck and comes back to 2.
You will never live this down. Now, the nurse suggested naming her Val for Valero, and where she was delivered, but Julie already had